So yeah, as I was saying, like the webinar session today will be focusing on the Strategy Labs module. Now, speaking about the tools, like the overall tools which we have in Traders Cockpit, just as an introduction, because I can see many of the participants who are present in the webinar session today, they're completely new to the dashboard, they're completely new to the software. So just to give you a brief introduction about what Traders Cockpit is basically. Uh, for that part, as you can see on the page here, like we are one of India's #1 leading share market analytic tool provider, which provide for this platform to effectively analyze the market on a day-to-day basis. You may be a long-term investor, you may be a short-term trader, or you may be an intraday trader. But how to pick up the right stocks or the right equities on any given day, how to analyze the price movement, how to analyze the volume movement. For that part, we provide for these tools, these applications, these software, which can help one to scrutinize the stocks or the right opportunities with the minimum usage of time. And like the tools contain some sophisticated modules like the screeners, pattern screeners, or the normal indicator screeners. And for people who trade in options, for them we have this option modules wherein you can create your own hedging strategies and check out for the payoff ratios. You can check out the market volatility and accordingly select for the right strike prices. And similarly, one of the prominent modules which we have is this strategy store. Now, why I say it prominent? Why I say it prominent? Because yes, it is a powerful module which helps one to to pen down his strategy and to check it out how effective it could have been if the strategy was working in the past market day on the past market data. In a sense, suppose you may be a trader. Okay, just to make the session a bit interactive, I would like to know like how many of you trade based on the technical setups. Like just to know a brief introduction about yourself. If you can put it on the chat log there. Just want to know like how many of you have been trading the share markets and plus using some any technical indicators for that purpose. Like you may be trading on RSI, you may be trading on a stochastic or a moving average crossover. So you can put it on the chat log there. Like maybe it will help us to discuss on some of the technical indicators side by side while I'll be creating some strategies. I'll be creating some strategies on the strategy labs to demonstrate how they work out. I can take any of these indicators otherwise. Pivot point plus moving average, okay, and then 9 and 21. I guess that is the EMA crossover. RSI, yeah, RSI, Bollinger Band, stochastic, EMA crossovers. Yeah, moving averages. Fine. So I'm getting quite a number of audience who are who are well acquainted with the technicals. That's absolutely fine then. Fresher, new to trading. Okay, Naveen, not a problem. We'll try to help you out on this part. Like apart from this particular Strategy Labs webinar, we conduct our other webinars also, which focuses on some ready-made tools, some ready-made setups available on Traders Cockpit. That will help out. Yeah. So what I'll be doing is will be in the Strategy Labs in the webinar session today. We'll be combining some of these indicators like the moving average, or the MACD, or the super trend, and run you through the features how you can backtest them. So what happens is normally how the Strategy Labs forms a unique feature and how it differentiates itself from the normal chart trading is, suppose over the chart, if I come to the charts, it may be looking somewhat like this. Now on the chart, I may apply a moving average like EMA 10 and a EMA 50, for example, or a EMA 20 and a EMA 50. And then do a manual checking. Like here, what I've done is I have applied this EMA 50 and EMA 20. The purple line here, that is my EMA 20 line. And the black line here, that is my EMA 50 line, which I've applied on a 15-minute time frame on Nifty. This is the stock for Nifty. This is the price movement for Nifty, which closed today somewhere around 9,829. Now here over the chart, I normally look for those opportunities where a crossover might have happened. Say for example, somewhat like this. what I mean to say is an example of somewhat like this where a crossover might have happened in between EMA 50 and EMA 20, and that gives me a chance for a bullish crossover. But manually checking this on the chart may be a tedious job for many. So rather than that, a shortcut method is I can draft this same logic. I can code this same logic on Strategy Labs, something called Strategy Labs, a platform which we have, a unique platform which we have, where this strategy can be coded, and accordingly you can check it out, like the accuracy of the strategy, how this would have worked out. Coming to the Strategy Labs page, it looks somewhat like this. For this, I went to this strategy store. In this, you could backtest the strategy on EOD candles, as well as you can backtest the strategy on intraday candles also. Like both the module setups are available in the Premium Plus subscription. Either you can, if you want, you can backtest the strategy on EOD candles as well as on the intraday candles also. In the intraday, we have this time frames available, like 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, or 60-minute time frames are available. So how this helps out is you can do a quick backtesting. Suppose you want to backtest any strategy on Nifty or Bank Nifty or any single stock, you can do a quick selection here. Like you can enter the symbol here, for example, in Nifty. I can select the stock name here, and then select the right time frame you want. If you want to backtest it on 15-minute candle or on a 30-minute candle or on a 60-minute candle, the time frame can be selected from here, and accordingly you can go ahead with the backtesting. To start with the module once again, I repeat. We come to this Strategy Labs page. In this, you find this EOD Strategy Labs module available, as well as the intraday Strategy Labs module also available. Let me do one thing. Let me create a strategy on the EOD end of the day Strategy Labs module and show you how that works out. Now in the EOD Strategy Labs, the introductory page, the front page will look somewhat like this, where you need to enter the strategy name. For example, I name it as Demo 18th July, which is today's date. And then in the description, description, this thing will be optional. If you want, you can put a brief description. Suppose I want to check for a breakout in Nifty. So this can be a breakout strategy in Nifty there. And then, as I said, you can select individual stocks here. The same concept which I explained on the EOD Strategy Labs, the same will be applicable. The same can be replicated for intraday Strategy Labs also. Just the thing is, you'll need to select the right time frame. A 5-minute or a 15-minute or a 30-minute candle, you need to select in there. Now, let us select this any single stock or index. Nifty for that purpose will be a appropriate one. Now, as on Nifty, I want to do a quick backtesting here, and the frequency, obviously, this is a EOD candle. Since this is a EOD candle, so it will be on daily time frame, and take the number of lots. Like since Nifty trades in futures, so take the number of lots as one lot per trade. I can take it. The Strategy Labs module, mind it, like it will be backtesting any of the strategy. It will be backtesting on the cash data, on the cash or the spot data for any stock. It may be any index or it may be any stock price also. The backtesting happens on the spot value, and accordingly you can check it out in futures how much the premium can be up or down there. What it does is it gives you a brief idea, it gives you a tentative idea about the returns which could have been accrued if this strategy would have been live in the market since last so and so days. And for that purpose, obviously, when we create any strategy, we need to enable it for backtesting, in the sense, like when we are creating a strategy for backtesting, we need to declare a particular starting date and an ending date there between which I want to backtest the strategy. And for that purpose, I can select the backtesting date. Say I can say let's take last 6 months for that purpose. So we select to backtest it from the data between December 2016, or let's take one full year data. That is from August 2016 till say 10th of July. That's 10th of July there this year. So what I did here is on the page, what we need to declare is one, the strategy name, then the description, that is optional, but yes, be particular in this part. Say you need to declare the scope of the stocks, like on which all stocks you want to backtest the strategy, and then the frequency that is on which time frame, which tick size you want to backtest the strategy, and then the strategy backtesting period, that is which I have selected as more or less last 1 year data here. Now coming to the entry condition, when you have filled in the initial parameters, when you have filled in the initial page, it will bring you to the next page where you need to enter the where you need to put in the entry condition and the exit condition. So when I say I have a strategy, or I want to backtest a strategy, then it simply means the strategy which I want to create or which I want to backtest should have a well defined entry condition as well as a well-defined exit condition also. That's what combines to get a complete strategy, right? Like if I'm speaking about any strategy, it should be having a well-defined entry condition with a well-defined exit condition also. And suppose in this case, the strategy which I'm taking, it will be somewhat like this. It will be a combination of the high price breakout. I'll show it to you on the charts once, on the paper once. Before backtesting the strategy, you should be clear on the term of the parameters, on the term of the conditions which you are being going to evaluate there. So for that purpose, what one can do is one can first manually check it out on the charts, like where one wants to generate a signal. Suppose for example on the charts I want to generate a signal somewhere here where a moving average crossover happens between 20 and 50 EMA. Okay, and as and when this happens, I want to get an alert here, or I want to get an entry point here, and accordingly my exit point could be somewhere as and when the price comes below EMA 50, EMA 20 in this case. Now first you need to perceive the strategy on the charts, how it looks like, and then you can go on to replicate the same on the strategy labs there. Now for example, here there is a moving average crossover which happened. I wanted a signal somewhere to be generated here. I want an entry signal to be generated somewhere here, and as and when the market comes again below the EMA 50, for example in this candle, as and when the market closes, price value closes again below EMA 50, that would be my exit point. So this is how I can define a strategy. Now you can combine a moving average crossover with a MACD, with a super trend, or any other parameter. That's up to you. And to perceive this on the page, it will look somewhat like this. So my scope of stocks is Nifty index here, and time frame of strategy backtesting is 1 day candle or EOD candle, right? And entry condition, is bullish crossover between EMA 20 and 50. Bullish crossover between EMA 20 and 50. So this becomes your condition, right? This becomes your entry condition, and exit condition is when price goes below EMA 20, as it happened on the charts here, which you can see in the backdrop here. Like this becomes your entry condition, a condition for entry, and this becomes your condition for exit there. And to define the entry condition, now the thing looks very much simple on the paper, right? But the computer. Yeah, Mr. Ravi, hope my voice is audible. Like, friends, let me know if the voice is audible, just on the sound check part. The Is the voice audible to you all? Yeah, Mr. Ravi, please check your sound settings then. Maybe some issue, issue with your sound settings. Mr. Ravi, I'll suggest please check your sound settings once because the voice is very much going through. Mr. Shyam Sundar, Mr. Shyam, this is 50 EMA which I have taken. This is 50 exponential moving average value which I have taken here. Now, what I was saying is, the condition on the paper, this seems very much feasible, and to a human, it will also be very much comprehensive to understand. But the same logic, if I want to feed into the machine, if the same logic I want to feed into the server, it won't be that easy. It's not like I can type it simply in English, and the machine will be understanding what I need to say. And for that purpose we need to convert it into a logical language which can be understood by the machine there, which can be understood by the platform there. And for that purpose only, like the strategy labs, this is a very user friendly setup as such. This strategy labs which you see here, this is a very user friendly setup, and in here you need to convert the language into basic logical operations which could be understood by the machine, by the server. And how the logical operation can be broken, I'll explain that. For example, here the entry condition, in the entry condition you take the crossover of 20 and 50 EMA, 20 and 50 exponential moving average lines. Now when do we say that a crossover happens? Just to define the entry condition once again, this will take some 5 minutes, but once you understand the concept, it will be very much easy to create or to write or to code any strategy on the strategy labs there. So please pay attention to this. Now, when do you define a crossover condition of say, for example, in this case 20 and 50? It can be defined as any movement can be defined as a crossover, can be termed as a crossover only if in the previous candle, I'll write it in short form, in the previous candle, if EMA 20 was less than EMA 50, but in the current candle EMA 50 came above, sorry, EMA 20 came above, that means it went greater than EMA 50 there. Getting my point? These two simple lines. In the previous candle, if EMA 20 was less than EMA 50, but in the current candle, the EMA 20 came above EMA 50. I will explain it on the charts once for you. Okay. So you can see this setup, right? Let me just zoom in further so that it can be more clear. Now here you see, this is the point where the crossover happened. Okay, this is the point where the crossover happened. Now before the crossover, what was the condition in this particular candle? If you see the EMA 50 is the black line. The EMA 50 was the EMA, and the EMA 20 is the purple line. This is your EMA 20. The purple line is your EMA 20, and the black line is your EMA 50 there. I'll just mark it on the paper with the pen. Now, if you see in the last candle, like that is this candle, the EMA 20 was below the EMA 50. Okay, the EMA 20 was below the EMA 50, but after the crossover happened, there was a gap, and the EMA 20 was below the EMA 20. EMA 20 was below EMA 50. And in the next candle, what happened? Now in this candle, this red candle, the crossover happened, and in the next candle, what happened? The EMA 20, it came above the EMA 50. So that indicated that yes, the crossover happened. That indeed the EMA 20 crossed above EMA 50, and that was a bullish entry there. Clear with this point? Please reply with a yes or a no. If it is a no, I'm ready to explain once again, but please reply with a yes or a no there. What I did here is I was defining a crossover condition between EMA 20 and EMA 50. When we say that a crossover has happened, when these two conditions meet, like a crossover is nothing but an assemble of two different conditions, wherein condition number one is price, the EMA 20 value in the last candle should be less than the EMA 50, and but in the current candle, in the current running candle, the price value, the EMA value should have gone above EMA 50. The EMA 20 should have gone above EMA 50. Okay, fine. So if any doubts or any queries will be there, you are free to put it on the chat log there. So the same condition you need to define for the entry. The same statement you need to copy, you need to replicate for the entry condition there. Similarly for exit, also there will be a bit of logic involved. For exit condition, what I mentioned here in simple English, it means price should be going below EMA 50. But for exit, if I need to write a logic there, the logic can be somewhat like this: like the last closing price. Last closing price, I'll term it as LCP. The last closing price should be lesser than EMA of 20 periods. That indicates that the price has gone below the closing of the candle has happened below the EMA 20 value. Getting my point? So the same conditions, the same condition now I need to replicate on the platform here. As I told earlier, also very user-friendly platform. What we have done is we have defined the strategy name earlier. Now coming to the strategy labs, so coming to the platform once again, we have defined the strategy name earlier. We have defined the time frame that is on the daily candle. We have defined it, and the backtesting we are doing on Nifty index as such, Nifty index values as such, and backtesting period has been selected for the last 1 year from August 2016 till July 2017. And in here, this is a single page, this is a single box wherein you can define your entry conditions. Now for the entry condition, as I said, previous candle EMA should be less than EMA 20, should be less than EMA 50. So I take it as EMA. Now as soon for putting in any indicator name here, for putting in any indicator name here, you just don't need to remember, or you don't need to type in the full indicator name. You just need to type in the initials. Say for example, as soon as I type E or EMA, it will give you the list of all the standard EMA values available for backtesting purpose. Similarly, if you want to check it on MACD, you just need to type MA or MACD. And all the different parameters which are related to MACD, it will open up here. Similarly, if you want to put in the price values, say for example, you want to create a condition wherein you need the value of last closing candle. So you just need to type last close price here. You need to type last close price here, and accordingly it will show up on the page. So you just need to select the particular indicator, particular setup, particular condition, and then redefine that. So any indicator name, it may be a super trend, it may be oscillator, it may be any oscillator like a RSI or a stochastic or a MACD. You just need to put in the initials, and it will show you the particular indicator value, like the particular parameters related, starting with those particular initials. Okay. Now in this case, I want the values of moving averages. Moving averages of which parameter? Moving average 20 and 50, right? So here I take EMA. Now EMA, if I come to this EMA, here you'll get this EMA 50 value you'll get. Okay, but EMA and EMA 20 value is also there. Okay, I want the values of EMA 20 and EMA 50 values for current candle and the last candle also. So what I'll be doing is, as soon as I type EMA, here comes the EMA 20 period and EMA 50 period indicators. They are available. Okay, so my first condition is EMA 20 of the last candle should be less than EMA 50. That is my first condition, and put this in parentheses, put this in brackets further, and then here. But my the condition which I had was this 20 and 50 EMA values, they should be for the last candle, right? They should be for the previous candle. They should not be for the current candle. So how do I declare the last candle values here is, for that purpose you need to double click on this indicator. Where as soon as you declare any indicator, after that just do a double click on this indicator name, and it will pop up a small window. Okay, wherein you can rename the indicator value. Say for example, I want to take the value of previous candle EMA. So just name it previous candle 20 EMA. Okay, and then here in the number of bars, you need to make a slight change. By default, the number of bars will be coming as 1. But if I want to take the EMA value for the last candle, here I'll have to make it the number of bars. Here I'll have to make it 2 here. Why so? For that purpose, let me explain it on the charts once again. This is again a small concept, won't take much time. Now on the charts, if I'm looking at the current candle, how the naming or how the nomenclature happens for the strategy labs is the current candle, it always marks it as 1. Okay. In the strategy labs, if I'm taking the current candle, then it always marks it as 1, and accordingly the previous candle values are marked with a incremental number. Like the last but one candle, it will be given the number 2, the one before that it will be given the number 3, the one before that it will be given the number 4, and so on. The last candle, like suppose for example I'm in the live markets, and or say the market is already closed for the time being, and if I take the last candle from here, that will be today it is 18th of July, and I'm taking it on a EOD candle, end of the day candle. So the last candle will be today's candle as such. Okay, suppose for example I take it on a daily candle value. Now in daily candles, if I want to mark the candles based on the numbering as per the strategy labs, then this last candle of today, which is today, that will be termed as 1 candle, bar number 1 or candle number 1, as it shows here. The one before that, the one which has been which came before that, that will be marked as 2. Like in this way, the numbering will go on increasing as and when we start moving backwards. So the candle 4 days back, it will be marked as 4 here, and so and so. So if I want to see a crossover between the last 2 candles, if I want to see the crossover between the last 2 candles, then what I'll be doing is I'll be comparing the candle number 1, values of the candle number 1 with that of candle number 2. Okay. In this case, suppose I wanted to capture this crossover which happened on January 17th. Suppose I want to capture this crossover which happened on January 17th. Then in this case, what would have happened? This particular candle. Let me further zoom it. Now this was the crossover which happened on the daily candle on January 17th, right? Now in this case, this particular candle, where the EMA 2, where the EMA 20 went above the EMA 50, that would have been your candle number 1 here. Like the recent candle, the last candle which formed, and the one before that, that would have been marked as candle number 2. And as and when we move backward, the values of the candles will go on incrementing by 1 unit. Hope this point is clear to all of you. That is how you number the different candles. This will be candle number 3, and so and so. So that is how you mark the different candles as and when you move backward for backtesting. Hope this point is clear to all of you. Again, this is a crucial point. That is why, if you can please confirm if this point is clear, that will be helpful. Okay, fine. So coming to the strategy labs now, if these 2 points are clear, one, the crossover logic, and second, numbering the bars. If these 2 points are clear, then believe me, you are already done with half of the strategy labs logic. Now you're good enough to create a strategy yourself, and you're good enough to backtest the strategy yourself. So coming to the main page here again. So as per my statement, my first condition was in the previous candle, EMA 20 should be less than EMA 50. So what I did is I took the previous candle 20 EMA value. For that purpose, I marked the number of bars as 2, like the second candle from here. Okay. in the second candle from here, like in the second last candle from here, the EMA 20 value that should be less than EMA 50, and this EMA 50 also, that also I need to rename. Let us rename it as previous candle EMA 50. Okay, and for that purpose, as we did for EMA 20, same way we'll mark it as mark the number of bars as 2 here, and just save the indicator. So what I did is first condition is created here. This is the first condition which has been created here, and then after that, this will be followed by the second condition, which is in the current candle EMA 20 will be greater than EMA 50. Exponential moving average 20 value will be greater than EMA 50 value. So for that purpose, when I'm assembling two different conditions, when I join two different conditions, I can either use a AND or operation. Now these are basically operations actually. Okay, there is a AND button. You can see a AND button here, and you can see a OR button here. Okay, these are nothing but logical operators, which we say in technical language. Okay, which help you to adjoin any two conditions. Suppose it so happens that I want both the condition to. It so happens that in a strategy I have 2-3 different conditions. Okay, and I want the strategy to execute. I want the entry to happen if and only if all the 3 conditions are meeting. For example, this is my condition number 1, and I can combine with the second condition which I listed on the notepad there. Okay, let me first draft it out once, and then it will be easy to explain. So I include a AND operator, and which will be followed by my second logic, that is in the current candle, that is last candle. This EMA 20, this will be for the current candle, right? So current, this you can mark it as current candle EMA, current candle EMA 20 value. Okay, and for that purpose, keep the number of bars as 1 only, because this represents the current candle value. Okay, so for that purpose, keep the number of bars as 1 only, and then save the indicator. In here, this should be greater than the EMA of 50 period. And for since I'm taking the current candle value, therefore the number of bars will be one only. So this creates my entry condition. This creates my crossover condition. Okay, so here I have got 2 conditions assembled. In this AND operator in between marks this marks out that if both the conditions are meeting, then and only then I will be entering into the market, otherwise not. Okay, any questions or any queries till now? Any questions, any sort of questions or any queries till now, or if any point has not been understood, please reply it on the chat log there. Okay, hope it has been simple to understand. Similarly, what I mean to say is, similarly, suppose now you want to combine it with any third condition, or like you want to combine it with any MACD crossover or price moving above super trend. So as many number of conditions will be there, so that many numbers of and you can join in here. Like you can click on the AND operator, and after that it can be followed by any other condition which you want to fulfill. Suppose with a moving average crossover at the same time you want. And now this was a simple moving average condition, but at the same time you wanted the price to the MACD to be above the MACD signal line at that point of time. If I see it on the charts here, if I put a MACD indicator on the chart here, if I see the MACD condition here, as and when the crossover happened at that point of time, the MACD was well above the central line, or the MACD was above the signal line. So this can be a third filter for you. This can be a third filter which you can use as a filtering condition there. Or you can combine the moving average crossovers with a super trend indicator. You can combine it with a ADX indicator or a volume parameter. So any sort of strategy can be created. There is no impossibility, like everything is possible on the strategy labs. Any sort of combination can be created, and for that purpose, for example, if you want to take a triple crossover, like if you want to take a triple crossover, or you want to combine it with a third moving average crossover condition, so that can also be done. And for that purpose, when you click on this EMA value, it shows you all the standard ones like 5, 10, 12, 20, 200, and 100 EMAs, all those. But suppose in it so happens that you want a 75 and 150 EMA crossover, or you want a 35 and 70 EMA crossover. So how to do that? Simple. Just we have this additional filter available that is called custom EMA. You just need to go to this custom EMA here, and in this custom EMA, you can define the number of periods for yourself. Suppose rather than taking a 200 period EMA, you want a 35 period EMA. So you just need to define the number of periods here. Like you can just need to define the number of periods here with the number. Like I want a 35 period EMA, and on the top just name it accordingly. Say 35 period, 35 EMA of current candle, and simply save the indicator. So this now becomes as good as a 35 candle EMA for you. This now becomes a ready-made 35 period EMA for you. Similarly, any indicator value you take, say for example, I want to combine it with a MACD, and in the MACD, just select the MACD indicator, and in the MACD indicator, rather than taking a 12, 26 period parameter, MACD by default, it takes a 12 and 26 period value for calculating the MACD, but rather than that, you want a 13 and 35 period EMA. So any period change you can do it here. You can get it done here. Say you can just change the number of periods as 13 and 35 thereby, and then save the indicator. So this becomes a MACD with the custom defined value for you. Getting my point? Okay, Mr. Tyagarajan has an addition here, like with the given condition, like with the given price crossover, given moving average crossover. How good it would be? It would be if we put the RSI crossing above 50 condition. Like what he meant to say is, now here we already have a defined condition of EMA crossover. With this, can we put a RSI price crossing above RSI 50 value? So this can be a third addition. Why not, Mr. Tyagarajan? This can be done, and for that purpose, you just need to take the now if I take a crossover in RSI between price and RSI 50, that can give you very less result. Already we have taken a moving average crossover. And that with that, if we simultaneously put it into action, the RSI crossover into action, then the number of results can be very less, because it hardly happens in the market. That two crossover conditions happen at the same time. What I mean to say is, already we have taken the moving average crossover. If with that, if we want to add this price crossing above 50 RSI cross 50 value, that may not be possible, or that may be very rare to perceive as such. Let us see here. Say RSI now at this point of time, this particular point of time where the crossover happened. So that is why it becomes very much important whenever you are creating any strategy, or whenever you are synthesizing any strategy. First, try to check it on the charts, how good or how lucrative it looks like, okay, for that individual stock. Once you find it fine, then you can go on to define those conditions on the strategy labs for backtesting for a longer period. Now here on Jan 17th, when the crossover happened between the two moving averages, at that time the RSI value was how much? 66.21. So that was not a crossover condition, but at that time what happened? The RSI was moving well above the RSI was moving well above 50 level. So what we can do is, rather than taking RSI crossover, what we can do is, at the same time we can add a filter that RSI value should be greater than 50 at that point of time. Not a crossover, but only RSI value greater than 50 at that particular point of time. So here what we'll do, we can discard this off, and rather we can add something like, sorry, this is not price, but this is RSI crossing above RSI 50 value. RSI crossing above RSI 50 value. So what we can do is we can discard this off and rather put a simple filter on RSI, which will be something like this RSI already above the 50 value. You see there is a difference between the two, right? RSI crossing the 50 value will be a rare case, but if you take RSI already above 50, then that means that the crossover might have happened at some point of time earlier. The crossover might have happened at some point of time earlier, but now also it is moving above the 50 mark. And the same case happened here, right? Like where in this particular candle where the crossover happened. Here the moving average crossover happened at the same time. This RSI value, if you see, that crossed the 50 mark somewhere here itself, somewhere around January 1 itself, but it was still floating above the 50 mark at the point where the crossover happened. At that time, the RSI was moving above at somewhere around 66 or 67 and so. So what we can do is rather than putting RSI crossover, we can just substitute with it with a simple line, which will be RSI above 50 value. And this becomes your third condition, which you can put it on the Strategy Labs platform in the entry setup. Yeah, if any sort of customization on RSI or other oscillators, they are possible, or they are possible on the Strategy Labs. As I showed you here, you can just name any indicator. Say for example, along with this, I want to add a RSI value. Okay. So here I simply create another condition wherein the RSI should be greater than RSI should be greater than 50. Done. So this becomes a simple condition, like a moving average crossover at the same time the RSI values are also above 50. As and when this happens, I enter into the market then. Now here I define the conditions on the basis of technical indicators. Same way, if you bring the cursor to here, you'll find the price values. Like you can define the conditions based on the price movement, like last closing price, or if you want to compare the high of current candle from the high of last 20 candles, that can also be done. Some combination wherein the price high breakout, or price low breakout is required. That sort of combination can be done easily. Similarly, if you want to combine any volume condition, that can be done from here. Or if you want to include any momentum indicators, that can be done from here. So all these different setups, the advanced indicators like the super trend or the Ichimoku, they are also available in this listing here. So just when you bring the cursor to here to this down arrow, you'll find the list of all the standard indicators, all the standard setups available. What you need to do is you just need to choose from them and fit in your conditions accordingly. So once the entry condition is created, we will move on to the exit setup. Now this is how the entry condition looks like. Okay. This is how the entry condition looks like, and once this is created, we move on to the exit setup. And the exit setup, the condition was my criteria was defined as the criteria was defined initially. Exit will be happening as and when the price goes below EMA 20. not a difficult thing to code actually. For this, we just need to get the EMA 20 value. Now for the exit, let's define the rule here. What we are doing is we are taking the EMA 20 value of the current candle, like EMA 20 value of current candle. This should be okay. The price goes below EMA 20, that is price should be lesser than EMA 20. That is how you can write this logic, this particular logic here. For this, we can frame the statement like the last closing price that should be lesser than EMA 20. So I take the last closing price there. This should be lesser than EMA 20. So that is how I frame my condition. So once this is done, what will happen? The strategy will check out for those setups, those instances where for entry purpose, the strategy will be checking out those instances where the moving average crossover happened, as it happened here. The strategy will be checking out for those instances where the moving average crossover happened, and then the exit will be taken as and when the price closes below EMA 20 value, as it happened on the top here. This particular trade, if you see from January, somewhere around January 17th, it went on and on until April 7th or April 10th, somewhat like that. Okay, this was a long trade actually. This was a very long trade actually, and a very profitable trade also. When we do the backtesting of the strategy which we just coded, this condition, this particular trade should be the one among them, among the ones which we find after backtesting. So now coming to the strategy labs part. Now here our exit entry rule was defined. Our exit rule is also defined. Then what we need to do is we just need to save the strategy now. Now suppose in some strategies it so happens that you don't have an exit rule. We don't have a well-defined exit rule. In that case, what you can do, you can substitute the exit rule with a particular fixed stop loss value or a particular profit target value here. Like for example, here I have already defined the exit rule, so I don't need to put in the stop loss and the target values. But alternatively, rather than putting exit condition, I want to substitute it with a fixed stop loss value. So what I can do is I can come to this downside bar here, and here I can put a say stop loss value of 3%. Stop loss value of 3%, and accordingly the target value will be put at somewhat like 5%, say. So that can also be done, like either with the entry condition you put a well-defined exit condition, or if you don't want to put exit condition, you can substitute with a fixed stop loss value and a fixed target value there. And after that you can go into save the strategy. Now since I put exit condition here, I won't be putting any target or stop loss values. I just going to save the strategy then and there itself. Let's change. Last closing price is less than 20 days price. Or stop loss by default, I put it as 5% here. And now once I click on the save strategy button, it will the strategy which has been created that goes and saves in my strategy list here, as it is showing on the pop-up window. You just need to go to the my strategy page there. No, Anand, actually, whenever we create any strategy, we need to put a by default value stop loss and target also. So if you have a well-defined exit condition, what you can do is you can put a vague stop loss value and a target value. I put a stop loss value of 5% and target value somewhere around 10%, which can be a vague number. As suppose you have a exit condition which is well defined, so you can put any vague number that will work out, and then you can simply go on to save the strategy. Now, when you save any strategy, it comes and sits here in the list of my new strategies. This is the one, the demo 18th July. This is the strategy which we created today, right? So now it shows. Now this is how the parameters will show up. Okay, just I'll go on to re-edit once again. This is the front page where we declared the strategy name and all, and then the entry condition defined, exit condition also defined here, and then simply go on to save the strategy. Now, once you create a strategy, it comes and sits here in new strategy page, as I said, and here you can check for the parameters. Now, the strategy name was 5 and 30 MA. Okay, 1 minute, let me change the name. Demo 18th July. So here the scope of stocks was only on Nifty futures as such, and the bullish condition which we named on the 20 and 50 MA crossover combined with RSI above 50 value, and exit rule was as and when the last closing price comes below 20 EMA. Okay, and accordingly the rule was defined, and then we can now, once the condition is defined, here you can either copy the strategy. Suppose you want to create multiple copies, you can copy the strategy there, or you can click on this button, this play button here, for a quick backtesting, which I'll be doing now. So once submitted, strategy cannot be edited. Do you want to continue? Yeah. Any queries or any questions till this point of time, or till whatever contents have been explained till now? Any questions on that part? Or hope the point is clear. Hope the contents are clear to all of you. If any questions, we can put it on the chat log there. Yeah, Ashish, this backtesting feature, this comes with as a part of the paid subscription altogether. This is a package which is included in the premium plus as such. So yeah, the setup, the strategy has already been submitted for backtesting. Okay, and once it is submitted for backtesting, it goes into the queue there in the server where the strategies, all the strategies, they are staked up in a single queue. on a first come first out basis. Okay, and then as and when the strategy will get backtested, it will take in the 15 minutes or 20 minutes, 15-30 minutes to get the strategy backtested, since it's on a single stock. So the backtesting will be done quickly. It will take some 15-30 minutes, and once the backtesting is done, you'll be getting all the reports here downside. Okay, like for example, it has already started showing the results. Okay, as and when the backtesting is already started actually, and see, you can see here the one recommendation it is showing as of 17th January 2017, which we just checked it out actually. Now this was the trade which we saw on the charts 17 January 2017. This particular trade which I was saying about. Okay, now as you can see in the conditions, okay, we'll go to the trade wise report directly downside. Now if you see it downside here, it will show you the stock wise analysis as well as the trade wise analysis also. Okay, now in the last 1 year, this was a single condition, and this can be observed over the chart also. Now, in the last 1 year, that is the market between July 14th and June 10th last year, that this was a single condition where a crossover happened between 20 and 50 EMA. Now, since this was on a daily candle, obviously the frequency of moving average crossover will be very less. So for that purpose, I backtested it on a last 1 year data. Similarly, what you can do is you can backtest it on last 5 years data also. Like on the UD candles, you can backtest on up to last 5 years data. Similarly, in the intraday candles, in the intraday strategy labs, you can backtest any strategy on last 500 ticks, last 500 candles. I repeat, in intraday strategy labs, you could backtest on up to last 500 candles. Similarly, in EOD strategy labs, the strategy could be backtested on up to last 5 years data. So what happened is, here I backtested the strategy on last 1 year data on the EOD candles, and accordingly the result is showing me downside here. So we can do a trade-wise analysis also. Like this was a long trade which happened on 17th of January, and the recommended entry price was at 8398. Okay, and the entry happened on the next day. Now, since this was a EOD candle setup, so the entry, obviously the the condition got generated on 17 July, and the entry will be happening next day morning, that is 18 July at 8403. Okay, and from there the increase in price happened, and the price came up to as high as 9244. The last 1 year has been completely bullish, on a bullish rally actually. So this is one condition which favored the price movement, and there has been a profit of some 50% there. Like from 8,403, the price came up to 9,244, and this shows a maximum gain of 50%, which is with the leverage. Like the leverage is taken 4 times here. So if it is showing 50% profit, that means actual profit will be somewhere around 50 divided by 4. That is some 12.5% will be the actual profit on actual returns on your investments. This profit percentage here, since we did the backtesting on number of lots. Okay, we did the backtesting on the future value, that is the number of lots there. Therefore, the profit value which it shows here, that is the inflated one. That is the one which takes leverage into account. So the actual profit will be to calculate the actual profit, you need to divide the number by 4. So 50% divided by 4, that will be some 12% returns has happened in some 6-7 months time frame in Nifty index itself. That's a clear show. Similarly, if you want to, like for your kind perusal, I have already I can show you some strategy which has been backtested by me earlier, and the results look somewhat like this. Like any of the strategy we can take in here. So this is, yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, what I was saying is like this is another similar strategy which had been backtested on one of our proprietary indicators, that is TCFL. TCFL, the full form for that is traders corporate floating levels. This is one of the prop indicators actually which we have in our advanced charts that you'll be able to find it here. Now the TCFL, it looks somewhat like this. It's a prop indicator, as I said again. Now in this, like entry happens as and when the price crosses above the upper this yellow cloud-like structure that is called the TCFL indicator. As and when the price goes above the cloud, that creates for an opportunity for a bullish breakout. That creates for an opportunity for a buy there. Similarly, if at any point of time the price comes below the lower cloud value or this green line, that creates for an opportunity for a selling there. Like if price coming below the cloud, that creates for opportunity for a sell. If price goes above the cloud, that creates for opportunity for a buy there. The whole since this is a prop indicator, exact parameters for the same can't be disclosed, but yes, if you want to check out the accuracy, that is where we had backtested the strategy once, this TCFL indicator once. And here I can share the results with you. Now this was on the TCFL breakout, and the parameters were simple. As and when the last closing price it goes above the TCFL value, okay, we go for a buy there, and exit happens if the last closing price comes below the TCFL one, and vice versa for the sell condition. And this was backtested on all the stocks from the Nifty index. And the result here, you can see the realized profit or the loss value. Okay, this is a single indicator, though the winning percentage was less, though the winning percentage of the strategy was less, but for every win, the average win percentage was high. Like the parameters are somewhat like this: out of 100 trades generated Darwin, 35 trades were in positive, 65 trades were in losses. But for every profit-making trade, the average percentage return was 4%, and for every loss-making trade, the average percentage loss was 1.8%. That is what denotes by average win percentage and average loss percentage. Okay, 35 trades were in profit there, 65 trades were in losses there, but every winning trade had an average win percentage of 3.84%, and every loss-making trade had a average loss percentage of 1.8%, and the total net realized profit was somewhere around 5,42,000, 5,42,495 on the total indexes in total Nifty 50 stocks there. So once you create any strategy, it will give you a detailed report as it shows here downside, and then you can take a stock wise analysis of the same, or you can take a trade wise analysis of the same. Like for trade wise analysis, now the question comes: if I have got any strategy, how to optimize the strategy or how to optimize the parameters. For that purpose, like what one can normally do is, like, you can go on to download the strategy setup. You can export the report. Like here, once you get the result listed on the page here, once you get any strategy backtested report available here, then you can go on to download, you can go on to view the strategy parameters from this button. Like when you click on this view button, it will show you the strategy parameters. नेट है नेट है Yeah, so you can click on this view button wherein it will show you the strategy parameters. Plus, if you want to download the results and check it out for your, keep it, save it with you for your own analysis, then you can export the result, the report page from here, like export report to Excel. When you click on this button, it will download the reports to your computer, and then you can open it on an Excel sheet. Let the Excel sheet open. Now here on the Excel sheet, you can see the strategy conditions and then the complete report card, like normally like these different parameters like luck factor, payoff ratio, or pure profit factor, or winning percentage, losing percentage. This all represents the parameters. This all represents the parameter of the report card of the strategy there. And then when you come to the trade wise analysis page, it will show you the all the trade wise reports also. Let's download the report for the other strategy which I backtested, that is TCFL. Now this was a strategy which was backtested on the TCFL indicator, and accordingly it shows the different parameters available. As I told earlier also, like in this strategy setup, it had the accuracy of some 35%, but the reason it was in profit was per profitable trade it made a 3.84%, 3.8% of profit. Per trade it made a 3.8% of profit there. Okay, and in per losing trade it lost a 1.8% of revenue there, 1.8% of amount there. And if I go to this traders analysis page, here it will show you this can be done with any strategy which you backtest. You can backtest a simple moving average crossover, or you can backtest a complicated strategy combining a MACD or a super trend or a RSI, any complicated strategy you can backtest there. And then on the Excel sheet here, you can do a trade-wise analysis of the different stocks altogether, like how much it shows you the different parameters. For example, the entry date, it shows you there, the closing values it shows you there, and then the maximum gain. Now these parameters becomes important, the maximum gain and the net profit or loss accrued. What happens is the net profit or loss, this is the one which is the actual profit or loss incurred by the strategy. Okay, this is the actual profit or loss incurred by the strategy. But before making that much profit or loss, how much was the value till where the price moved? Like for example, the closing of my trade happened at 476. Okay, and accordingly my loss, like this in Tata Motors here. Okay, let me take it once again. This was a long call for Tata in Tata Motors. This was a long call in Tata Motors where the entry happened at 476.55. The entry happened at 476.55, and then the price might have moved a little bit up, but it came down further and closed at 476. That is where I made a loss of 0.12%. Okay, but before making that loss, how much was the value till where the price moved up? It might have happened that from 476.55 the price might have moved up to somewhere around 477 or 477 or 477.5, somewhat like that. And accordingly it calculates the maximum gain value. This maximum gain value which it shows here, that means till what point on the upside the market moved before coming down further. Okay, got my point? Clear on my point? Like this maximum gain value shows till what point the market moved up. What was the maximum point till where the market moved before coming down further, and that is how this maximum gain value is calculated. And accordingly, plus this lowest value, this minimum gain value, this shows that after the entry point, how much after the entry, how much was the value till where the market moved on the downside before triggering out my loss at 0.12%. So this is the maximum. This is rather something called the maxima, and this is something rather called the minima of the trade. Okay, how this helps you to optimize the strategies accordingly. You can check out for this values, this maxima and the minima values, and accordingly you can go on to toggle your strategy. You can go on to toggle your conditions, wherein it can synthesize some better results. How this is done, how to optimize the results, how to refine the parameters, how to tune the indicators. This is something which we teach in our advanced strategy workshops actually. Like just to give an idea, like I won't be getting deep into the technicals, but as I said, the optimization of any strategy that can very much be done using these parameters, checking out these parameters here. Okay, it shows you the maxima value, it shows you the minima value till where the price movement might have happened before the exit happened at your net profit or loss number, and how to optimize those conditions so that you can reach your maximum profits, or how to optimize those conditions so that you can hit your minimum losses. These are something which we teach in our advanced strategy workshops. Okay, so if anyone wants to roll in for that, they can go through our knowledge section on the website there, and there you'll find the details about our advanced technical analysis workshop altogether. But yes, given that and said that, this is how the overall strategy labs module works out. Now you can create any strategy on EOD conditions, you can create any strategy on intraday conditions also. You just need to create this strategy there with simple logical operators. If any confusion will be there, or if any queries will be there, definitely you can get back to us on our support numbers. This strategy labs module, this is a part of our premium plus subscription altogether as such. Okay, the premium plus subscription that costs some 20,900 for one full year, but for the webinar participants there will be some special discount offer which will be declared at the end of the session. I'll hardly take another 10 minutes, and then I'll be declaring on the discount offer which is applicable for which will be applicable for the participants who are interested for the subscription. Okay. Now, as I said, once you go ahead with the subscription, you'll be properly trained on how to use the software, or how to use the different setups available on the platform along with the strategy labs. Okay, and if any in the strategy labs, you'll be trained on how to write the logic, how to write the codes properly. Plus, if any queries or if any questions will be there on creating any condition, you can definitely get back on our support numbers, which are available on the website downside here. Okay, you can get back on our support numbers and you'll be properly answered out. You'll be properly helped on coding, on creating the strategies. So that is again a value addition which you get with the membership there. Any questions or any queries on that part? Yeah, friends, hope the session has been helpful to you all. Any questions or any queries? If it is that, then please put it on the chat log there. I'd like to take it on. Or if the point has been clear, then you can say, reply with a yes or a no there. Any questions, friends? Yeah, so we'll be concluding the session now. And yes, as I said, like the premium plus subscription, the premium plus subscription, which will be including the access to the strategy labs and to our other proprietary indicators like TCFL or the other proprietary dashboards or the option modules, this whole package comes in our premium plus subscription, the premium plus package, premium plus membership. The 1 year subscription fees for premium plus is 20,900 plus taxes plus GST. But yes, as a special discount, you can there is a special discount available for the webinar participants today. Those who are interested to get the discount, please put your phone numbers or please mark yourself as interested on the chat log there. And at the end of the session, I'll ask my team to get back to you on your contact there, on your contact numbers with the subscription offer, and you can go ahead with the registration accordingly. Yeah, friends, as I said, like there is a special discount available for the webinar participants, and this Premium Plus membership, it will be including all the features, including the strategy labs and the proprietary dashboards, some ready-made buy-sell signals, and the option modules. All these features comes in at a very nominal rate of 20,900 for one full year, and it will include the membership plus one complete year support from our technical team, our support team. And for the webinar participants, there is a special discount available, which will be declared to the ones who show their interest on the chat log there. So please put your phone numbers. Whoever interested for the subscription, please put your phone number on the chat log. And at this end of the session, I'll ask about my team to call you back on the number, and accordingly, you can go ahead with the subscription. So what you can do is you can, yeah, Mr. Avinash, thank you for that. We'll be getting back to you in under half an hour with the details. So yeah, thank you for that, Shankar. So as said, you can put in your contact details there, or you can simply mark yourself as interested there. For interested for the subscription, you can simply mark yourself as interested on the chat, and accordingly we'll be getting back to you with the subscription details, and whatever queries or whatever questions will be there. Further, one more point, like for the webinar participants, like there will be proper one-to-one product training session, wherein we will be guided on the software completely once again, and hence it might take some 10-15 days to brief you completely regarding the product, since this will be one-to-one sessions. So on alternate days or on after a interval of every 2-3 days, we'll be having some online sessions wherein we'll be guided on how to use the software properly. So hope the session was helpful for all of you. Any feedback regarding the webinar, then please feel free to put it on the chat log there. Any feedback, positive or negative. If it was good, then you can put it as you can mark it accordingly. If it was bad, then you can put in your feedback there. So it will also keep us motivated. So yeah, friends, we end the webinar now. Thank you for attending the session once again. Hope you have a good day and a good time. Thank you.